This season, it feels like the whistle never stops. Are Premier League officials getting worse, or does it just feel that way? This season, it feels like the whistle never stops. Each weekend brings a new VAR controversy, a fresh apology from PGMOL, and a rising tide of anger online. And the question is, are the officials within the league getting worse, or are we just starting to pay more attention? Here's the twist. In the last 3 or 4 seasons, the Premier League's own independent key match incidents, they have a panel for that, has tracked every major call. Their data shows fewer errors, not more. 38 VAR errors in the 22-23 season, 31 in the 23-24 season, and just 18 last season. Yet, log on to social media and it feels like refereeing is falling off a cliff. So today, we dig into the numbers, relive some early season blunders, and ask if the narrative of decline stands up to the scrutiny. By the end, you would have the facts to challenge the next pub table rant about referees. So first, let's talk about why it feels much worse now. Here's the main question. If mistakes are going down, why does it feel like they're going up? Like why is the trend in data and the trend in emotions headed in opposite directions? First is the media amplification. 20 years ago, you'd groan to your mates at halftime, then get on with the game. Now every decision is replayed in slow-mo from 10 angles, clipped for TikTok, debated on podcasts, and torn apart on X. Former referee Tony Scholes, now the Premier League's chief football officer, even admitted that the big headline makers stick in the memory for fans and outweigh every stats. In other words, the bad calls are usually amplified and are louder than the numerous correct ones over the weekend. Second is fan education. Supporters today know the laws better than ever. We've got IFAB updates online, referees mic'd up on the pitch, and match officials mic'd up as well. In-stadium VAR announcements explaining decisions. That's progress. But it also means fans spot contradictions a lot more. The grey areas, the inconsistencies that might have slipped by 10 years ago. I think the EPL has opened up to more interaction, but the risk that they never anticipated is that more information to people gave them more empowerment to spot these contradictions when they came up. The third reason why it feels much worse now is because narratives form quickly. Think back to 31st August 2025. Fulham had a goal disallowed against Chelsea. Muniz brushed Chalobah. VAR sent Rob Jones to the monitor, and the goal was wiped. Within hours, the PGMOL apologized. Fulham's Anthony Robinson went on Instagram to say officials had been shocking for too long. Right? That one mistake set the tone for weeks. And finally, algorithm outrage. Negative traffic travels far faster than positive ones. Anger drives engagement on a lot of social media platforms, and that feeds the algorithm. So it's no surprise that even rare mistakes feel like an epidemic, because that's what your feed is filled with. Your feed is filled with multiple back-to-back videos of pundits, of analysts, of posts talking about that blunder over the weekend. So here's my advice. Take a breath. So here's my advice. Take a breath before you tweet and share this episode with a mate who insists referees have never been worse. Because we're about to look at the numbers now, and I'm sure you definitely want them to see this. What do the numbers actually say then? The key match incidents panel, made up of independent former referees and managers, reviews every big call, goals, penalties, red cards, VAR checks, and their numbers are telling. In the 22-23 seasons, we had 38 VAR errors. In the 23-24 seasons, we had 31 VAR errors. And in 24-25, we had 18. That's a 42% drop in a single season and a 53% drop compared to 3 years ago. On the field, referees got 86% of key decisions right, the same as the year before. But with VAR correcting mistakes, accuracy jumped to 97%. VAR might frustrate us, but statistically, it's working. Even without VAR, the panel logged fewer mistakes, 33 on the field errors in 23-24 down to 28 last season, and that's progress. Efficiency is improving too. Average VAR delays dropped from 64 seconds to 39 thanks to the referee's call principle. Unless there is a clear and obvious error, the on-field decision stands. And the semi-automated offside that has been used now also means that we've reduced the amount of time that it takes to make such calls. That alone shaved off 27 seconds of each VAR call. Now, stats don't capture emotions. And we are clearly seeing that. A wrongly disallowed 90th minute winner will always sting more than a dozen correct offside calls. But the trend is undeniable. Errors are falling and not rising. So if you prefer hard numbers to hot takes, share this episode in your group chat. Independent panels like the KMI deserve more attention than angry Twitter threads. The final thing that I want to touch on is the early errors in the 2025-26 season and what can be done about them. Because let's be real, mistakes still happen, and when they happen in big games, they dominate the headlines. Back to the Fulham-Chelsea match in August, Josh King's goal chalked off, VAR, Michael Salisbury stood down, Graham Scott calling the decision indefensible. The single call became the talking point of the weekend, proof that even with better processes, human judgment can still wobble. Why do these errors still happen? Football has never been faster, right? Referees make split-second decisions and split-second calls. VAR officials depend on camera angles, frame rates, communication. One slip, one misinterpretation, and chaos follows. So what's being done? One is the semi-automated offside, which is now in every match, and it's faster and it's more precise, so it's reducing offside mistake captions. Second is captain's only rule, which means only skippers can approach referees, cutting down on mob protest on the pitch and the harassments that some referees face. And third is transparency. The fact that VAR decisions are being announced in stadiums and the Premier League Match Centre explains hundreds of calls every season. The problem then, however, is that a lot of the time, these, especially the transparency bit and explaining the match issues, the explanation is not detailed enough. So an angry fan does not care whether you explain why you chopped the goal off, right? But more could be done. Fans want to hear the audio between VAR and referees, like rugby provides live. Officials need consistent training on clear and obvious so thresholds don't shift. Because one of the biggest issues is what really is clear and obvious. What is clear and obvious error? What is it? When does something become clear and obvious? And I think over the years, one of the biggest issues with VAR is a set of VAR officials think something is clear and obvious that another set of VAR officials do not think it's clear and obvious. So the thresholds are shifting, and the league could employ dedicated VAR specialists instead of rotating referees who may be less comfortable in front of a monitor. And this is very, very important, because the league should grow to a point where they have dedicated VAR officials trained who accrue decades of experience instead of rotating actual on-field referees in VAR rooms. Accountability also matters. So the PGMOL now admits mistakes and removes refs from duty when needed. That should continue, but prevention should be the goal, and honesty should also be the goal in order to build trust. So think this analysis could calm a debate in your WhatsApp group. I think this type of analysis could settle some disagreements, right? And share this segment with them and rate the podcast so more fans get evidence instead of just outrage. In a world In a world of highlight reels and endless discourse, the easy story is that referees are ruining football. The easier story is that VAR should be scrapped. I heard Jamie Carragher make this point on the fan debate, I think on Sky Sports or sponsored by Sky Bet. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean VAR should be scrapped? And they had a whole segment discussing how refereeing has gotten worse. And I think that kind of real and highlight and sensationalist related commentary is not helping because the data says otherwise. VAR's errors have more than halved in 2 seasons. That's unimaginable progress. On-field mistakes are down. The league is adopting new technology and improving transparency. Does that make headlines like a disallowed goal at Stamford Bridge? No, but it should, because it should. And there's still work to do. Quicker reviews, clearer communication, higher standards, but let's not ignore the progress in refereeing in the league. So the next time someone insists that officials are destroying the game, remind them that we've got receipts, that they're actually improving the game. And if you enjoyed this evidence-based rant, sort of, follow and rate the show, like the podcast, and wherever you get your podcasts, we are there on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and also on YouTube. Tell a friend who thinks refs are hopeless to tune in and listen to this episode. And until next time, stay calm, enjoy the game, and always be the fan that you want to be.